What's going on YouTube? This is SB3 and today is my second episode of PanicREVV, where I break down the different riders throughout both series and I see where they should be at on a level of panic of level of 1, not panic at all, 2, moderate panic, kind of freaking out, and then 3 would be a max panic or a PanicREVV. And I'm going to go through the 250 East, and I'm going to go through the 450 SX team as they sit in the points right now. And I'm going to make them in the same video so that way it's a little bit more condensed. And as the championship starts to wind down a little bit, or not wind down, but as the key players in the championship start to play out more so than what they have been, I'll do top 5 for the 250 SX, and then I'll probably still do top 10 for the 450s, just because there's still so many players that are involved in this that are not technically out of the championship, but they're still really, really good talking points. But we're going to get started right with the 250 SX East, and we're going to start with points leader Colt Nichols. Colt Nichols, he's got 166 points, and he's got 3 wins on the season. I'm not worried about him at all. The guy that beat you going into the break is sitting in 3rd place, and he's almost, 40 points out? I think 38 points. 48 points. Yeah. But if I'm Colt Nichols, I'm not worried. Your biggest competition is Christian Craig, and he's hurt, so he's going to be spending a good chunk of the 10 weeks off resting and recouping, and probably won't be on the bike the first couple weeks, which is going to put him significantly behind. So if I'm Colt, I'm good. Second place is Christian Craig. He is a solid 8 points down, and I'm at a level 2 just for the championship stake. I'm not necessarily worried about him getting a ride for next year. I'm more worried about the championship and how it's going to play out. Christian needs a little bit of help coming into this their 8th round right before the finale. You've got to something's got to happen with Colt. He's got to finish off the podium. I mean, not necessarily off the podium, but to make it a good race, Christian's got to get first at this second to last round, and then Colt probably needs to get 3rd. That's going to give Christian 5 points. It's going to put it down to 3 points, and then it's going to be a shootout of whoever gets ahead of each other. Ideally, you want to see it for the win, right? But you gotta. He's got to put himself in a position, and he's got to try to heal up over these first couple of weeks, and then try to get back on the bike and get to a point where he's consistent. He can come back and actually challenge for this championship. 3rd place is Mr. Consistency, Joe Shimoda, number 30 on the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. And for Joe, I got him at a level 1. I'm not worried about him really at all. It's his first year on the bike. He's 18 years old. It's his sophomore season, so I don't think Mitch signed him with the anticipation of being a championship contender just yet. I really think going into it, he probably banked on Austin finally getting it done, and he didn't. So Joe has gone into the main guy position pretty well. He's a consistent 4th or 5th place rider. He's got the speed to win, but I think he's got to up the ante a little bit. He's got to start producing a little bit more intensity out on the track than what he's been doing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing with what he's producing, but he's not going to win with people like Colt, Christian, and Jed on the track. And I mean, especially if RJ and Austin are on the track too, then he may not be that 4th, 5th guy anymore. But he's got to up the intensity a little bit during this break, and I think if he can do that, he's going to put himself in a good position and maybe get a first. I don't think he's going to win this season, but it wouldn't shock me the way he's trending up. His stock is very, very valuable right now because he's showing improvements in ways that he hasn't faltered when other riders have, more experienced riders have. So that being said, he doesn't have the stress on his back that people like maybe RJ and Austin did, but he's still holding up. Moving on to 4th place is Jet Lawrence. He got the last win in Orlando 2 Orlando 1, and I'm not worried. I mean, I've got him probably a level 1, maybe a little bit of a level 2 if HRC is expecting him to win the championship. It's his sophomore season too, just like Joe's, so you can't really go into it expecting a championship out of him. He's gotten 2 race wins. He's 10 points behind Shimoda, and if he keeps on this upward trajectory where he's finishing ahead of Shimoda, he's going to get 3rd overall. Not a bad second season, in my opinion. He was in the championship hunt until he had his couple get-offs, and then that kind of really set him outside of the championship hunt. Realistically, I don't think a championship's there for him this year. I think it's going to be more of him trying to build a base and go into outdoors. Do I think he's got a good chance of contending for an outdoor championship? If he takes what he learned in Supercross and continues to build and grow off of that, then yes, I think he's got a decent shot at the championship. I don't necessarily think he's going to get it, but I think it puts him in a good position to be at least contending for that championship. Jets, like I said, he's 10 points down from Shimoda, and if he continues finishing ahead of him, then he's going to lock in third place, and that's not bad. You got Josh Osby. He's sitting another solid 25 points down from Jet Lawrence. And Josh Osby, I didn't know who he was prior to the season, and I still don't know a heck of a lot about the guy. So that being said, a couple of the key players went out, and Josh Osby's been there to capitalize on it. So, I mean, good on Josh Osby. I'm not stressing on him at all. If anything, this is going to make his stock rise quite a bit. Moving on to sixth place is Michael Mosiman. And he's going to be the last guy I'm going to talk about with the 250s. I'm going to mention RJ and Austin, but they'll be quick. Michael Mosiman, he's hurt. I think he broke a bone in his hand, so I don't know if he's going to be out for the rest of the season. If they're going to have him just start prepping for outdoors, but for me, it's a level 2. It's his first year on the bike, technically. He rode Husqvarna last year, which the bikes are similar, but there are some little differences from what I can understand with people describing the bikes. So I'm not too concerned. I would imagine he signed a 1-year contract, so the only reason I would be concerned if I was Michael Mosiman is if that 1-year contract is contingent on him producing a title or something like that. But he's hurt, and this 10 weeks is probably going to be a very, very good thing for him because it's at least going to give him an opportunity to rest up and recoup without losing so many points. Yeah, that's going to do it for the 250s. I will mention RJ and Austin. They're still at a level 3. In the preseason press conference, Austin harped on this was his last year to get it done. I still don't know if that means he's moving up or if Mitch is just done with him since he's not going to produce a title. RJ, he's at the second year of his 2-year contract with Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, and he's got the speed to win, but he just doesn't have that extra level of intensity. And whenever he gets up to that level of intensity, he starts making these little micro mistakes that compile and they lead to bigger mistakes. So if I'm RJ Hampshire, you come into outdoors, it's same thing with Austin. You got to win a championship to stay on the team. If you're RJ, maybe not so much, but Austin, he's got to deliver something because he's been on that bike for 3, 4, 5 years now. So he's got to produce something to understand, to be like, why do we keep you? Because Mitch is going to be, at the end of the season, he's going to be like, why should I keep you on the team whenever I brought in an 18-year-old kid that's never ridden the bike before and he's been able to produce better rides and not get hurt. So I think Austin really needs to come back swinging for Supercross if he's going to come back for Supercross, but if he's going to come back for outdoors, he needs to win the championship. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Supercross is done. The championship, he's not going to win it. So if I'm Austin Forkner, I'd personally be focusing on the outdoor title and try to come back next year and win the Supercross title. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. We're going to move on to the 450s now. And then we're going to go probably through the top 10 just because there's a lot of riders to talk about. And I'll mention at the end of the video some injuries just to go through, kind of keep an idea of who's here. So we're going to start off with Ken Roczen, the number 94. He's got 3 wins on the season. He's sitting at 161 points. Not worried. The only thing that would concern me with Ken Roczen is I've got him at a level 1, but the only thing that would concern me with Ken Roczen is as the season progresses, typically he gets a little bit worse. You haven't seen that decline yet, but I know that up until Daytona of last year, now granted, there was a very long break that hopefully, fingers crossed, doesn't come to light again. But he's typically decent. He's really on fire in the first half of the season, and after Daytona, he plateaued. And now, I mean, I will say that everybody had that same level of break, so I don't know what happens with Ken whenever it starts to get hot out, but he typically doesn't do as well. And I think these quick fire rounds have been really, really good for him. So the only thing that would concern me, and the only reason I haven't signed him off as winning this championship just yet, is I want to see how he performs after Daytona. I want to see how he goes through and how he handles when it starts to get hotter, because he typically starts to fall off right after Daytona. So I hope that's not the case. I'm personally an ET3 guy. I want Eli to come back, and I want him to defend his championship and go out and win outdoors. It's getting a little more bleak than as the weeks go by, and he continues not to be a factor on the podium. But that I'll talk about that in a second. To me, if you're Ken Roczen, keep doing what you're doing, keep the stress level low, and keep riding the way he's been riding. I mean, if he's gonna have bad nights, try to minimize them. Try to ride as hard as you can to put yourself in a position at the end of the series where you're in a championship contention. Do I think he can win the title? Absolutely. He's a proven race winner. He's won 3 races in a row, which he's never done before, and he's been consistently quick. So I think for Kenny to pull out the championship, it wouldn't surprise me. And if it's going to be anybody but Eli Tomac, I would rather it be Ken Roczen. Been following the guy since he moved over to the U.S. for the MXGP series, and I think he's a cool dude. Him and Eli seem to get along now. Not that they didn't get along before, but they seem like they're actually more like they're buddies because they have kids now. So that's cool. But rooting for Ken. Hope he has a good season. And we'll move on to second place, which is the number 2 of Cooper Webb on that Red Bull KTM. He's a little ways back in the championship, but he's gotten 2 wins. And for me, I'm at a 1.5 with Cooper. I'm not super worried because he tends to get better as the season goes on, like Eli does. So I'm not too concerned, and the fact that he's actually got 2 wins already this early in the season would be concerning to the rest of the field because he's starting to pick up and he's starting to get a little more comfortable on the bike, and it seems like he's figuring out those air shocks, whereas early in the season it looked like he struggled with them a little bit. But not a whole lot to say on Cooper. I really want to get some inside knowledge on the mind games he's playing down on the track because I hear he does it a lot. But we'll move on to third place, which is the defending champion Eli Tomac, Monster Energy Kawasaki. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to put him at a 2, maybe a 2.5, because Eli does get better throughout the season, and he's been consistent. He's been in the top 5, but his starts have been freaking awful. I mean, they've been terrible. He's coming across the line, and he's picking these inside gates, and he's getting pinched off because he's not getting the jump. And I don't know. I don't know how to have him fix it. I don't know what to do. I don't know how he fixes this because he's doing the defensive thing, and it typically works out. But it's just it has not been good. He's third in the championship, so I mean he's still, but he's 30-something points down almost. So he's over a race out of it, and I think statistically, I don't think anybody's come back from being 26 points down. And I mean, Tomac almost did it in 2017, so I mean, it's possible, but I don't know. Tomac's got to start clicking off wins, and I think I was really thinking coming into Orlando he was going to do it. I thought he was going to turn it up, and he came out and he won his heat race, and I was like, cool, this is going to be good. He's going to do well. And then the freaking main event. If I'm Tomac, my goal is to not nail the start in the heat race because he nailed the start in the heat race. He get a crappy start in the heat race and then nail the start in the main event. Because I think if he starts up front, he can win. But he's got to be in the top 5, maybe even top 3, because he's got the speed to win. But a lot of these guys that are starting ahead of him also have the speed to keep him at bay. So if I'm Eli Tomac, I'm at a 2, probably maybe a 2.5. I'm not necessarily thinking he's out of the title right now, but I think if we go to Daytona, if he doesn't win Daytona, then his championship's over. I'm stamping it right now. If he does not get a win at Daytona, championship's over. I think if he can get a win at Daytona, I mean, I think he needs to win Orlando too, but I think for the championship's sake, he has to win Daytona because that's his style of track. And then you got the Atlanta rounds, and I think if he wins at Daytona, it can snowball, and he can clip off 4 race wins, and he's right in the thick of the championship. But he's got to make a stand here. If he's going to be in the championship hunt, he's got to make a stand. Moving on to fourth place is Adam Cianciarulo, the number 9, Eli Tomac's teammate. And, I mean, I'm not too concerned. I probably got him at a 1.5, level 1, maybe. It's a sophomore season, so you're expecting him to be better. And, I mean, the big positive for me with Adam is he hasn't gotten hurt yet. He hasn't had those big crashes that have put him out of contention for the championship. And I think he needs to get through this entire season healthy. I think if he can get through the entire 17 round series healthy, then he'll be good. He'll go into the outdoors. He'll produce good results there, and then he'll come back into it for his third year of Supercross, and he'll light it up, and he'll be a contender for the championship. So, if you're Adam Cianciarulo, obviously you may be wanting to win races. You might want to be on the podium more consistently, but if you're producing the results and you're not getting hurt, then you're good. Justin Barcia, he's sitting fifth place right now, and I mean he's out of the championship. He had a crash with Vince Freeze, and he finished I think like 19th or 20th. So I think his championship is done. I'm putting him at a 2.5 because he's still been riding really well. I think that 19th is going to be the death of him in terms of championship. But I think he's producing good enough results that I don't think his ride's going to be in jeopardy. I don't think he signed a contract with. I think he signed a multi-year contract with Gas, so I think he'll be okay there. But other than that, I mean, I think he's okay. I'm not super concerned. I think he does need to come up for outdoors, and I think he needs to produce there. I think he needs to get a couple of race wins, and I think if he can do a top 5 in Supercross and a top 5 in outdoors, that'll put him in a good position to produce a lengthier contract going into what I am assuming is going to be, if he signs a bigger contract, I think this is going to be his last big contract. Sorry, I had my alarms going off, so I'm turning it off. We'll move on to 6th place. It's Marvin Musquin. And if I'm Marvin, I'm freaking out. I'm a level 3. He's produced okay results, but not anything close to what he had been producing. He's gotten a couple of podiums, so I mean he's shown the flashes of who he used to be, but I believe he's in a contract season with Red Bull KTM, and I don't know if they're going to re-sign him. With some of the talent that's going to be coming up in the next couple of years, like Max Volan, he's a far away away, but you got to start thinking about it. I mean, Ian Harrison and Roger DeCoster, they're not going to keep re-signing Marvin just because he's been with KTM for his entire career. He's got to continue producing the results, and I mean, to me, right now, he's not producing those results. I know he's coming off of a big injury, and I know he's probably having to get himself back into race pace, but we're coming into the 8th round of the series, and he's got to start producing something if he wants to get that contract re-signed. But I mean, if I'm Marvin Musquin, I'm a level 3. I'm freaking out. PanicREVVing heavy. He's got to start producing something a little bit more consistent if he's going to be a championship contender, or if he's going to be looking to get it re-signed. To me, with him being 50 points down, he's almost 2 races down. I'm not looking at the Supercross Championship anymore. I'm going to try to get some race wins, but I'm going to be focusing primarily on outdoors. He needs to produce something in the outdoors to get a contract extension for me. 7th place is going to be Malcolm Stewart, number 27 on the Star Racing Monster Energy Yamaha. And, I mean, I'm not panicked. Level 1. Maybe a level 1.5. Maybe. I'm not too concerned with Malcolm. He's been producing consistent results, and he's just been there. I mean, he hasn't been over the top fast, but he hasn't been crashing. He hasn't been putting himself in positions where he's missing races because he's overriding the bike like he's done in previous years. He's always been super quick in the whoops, but that tends to be his downfall too. He'll go down in the whoops, or he'll do something silly, and I mean, I'm rooting for him. I hope that this Supercross deal works for him, and I hope he's able to leverage it to get better deals in the future. But it's his first year on the bike. It's a brand new team. So I'm not super concerned with Malcolm right now. 8th place is Zacho, number 16 on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. He is the first Husqvarna rider. Shocking. Zach finally got a good start last week, and to me, I like Zacho as a person. I'm not his biggest fan as a rider. I think they're. I mean, I guess it's my Eli Tomac bias coming out, but I like Zacho as a guy. He seems like a good dude, but he just hasn't been producing the results. And for me, I've got him probably to level 2, level 2.5, primarily because he had a decent start and he was able to finish 3rd. He started off. I think he had the lead for a little bit, Brayton, Tomac, or Roxon, Webb, like everybody got by him, and Barsha got by him. He ended up being able to fight back to a third place. Brayton had his issues, and then Barsha made a mistake. Do I think he would have gotten by Brayton? Probably. I don't think he would have gotten by Barsha. Or if he did, I think Barsha would have blasted him. But I'm not freaking out too much. I don't know how. I didn't look to see how far his contract is extended out. But I'd imagine he's going to get a contract extension, maybe 1 or 2 years. He's 30, 31, something like that. So he's going to be getting, I would assume, pretty close to retirement here pretty soon. But yeah, I mean, not overly concerned for Zacho. He's riding consistent, and he's had some freakish speed whenever he started into the back of the field. He's just, it's kind of like Tomac. You can't start that far back and expect to win a race or get on the podium if you're 10th or further back. But we'll move on to 9th place, which is Aaron Plessinger. Aaron Plessinger is in a contract season, and I think he's been riding a lot better than what he has been in previous seasons. He hasn't gotten hurt. He's had those little flashes of speed where he's starting up front, and the part that would be concerning to me and why I've got him at a level 2 is he's getting better starts. He's starting closer to the front, but then he's fading back. Whenever he's up front, he fades back. And I mean, you consider there's people like Ken Roxon, Tomac, Sansarillo, these quote unquote high level guys. But if you think about it, Aaron Plessinger has won 250 Supercross championships too. He hasn't won any races, but as far as 250 success, if you're comparing everybody on a 250 level, they've all won championships of some kind. So theoretically, Aaron Plessinger shouldn't be having these issues trying to get that close to the front of the pack, or that far. I mean, where he's fading back so quickly. But that's just my opinion on it. I mean, I think AP's out next year, personally. I think if he doesn't produce better results with people like Christian Craig, Jeremy Martin, Justin Cooper potentially, I don't know if he's in a position where he could point out this season or not. But I mean, Colt Nichols, Christian Craig, Jeremy Martin, that's 4 riders that could replace the entire team that's there right now. I don't think they're going to get rid of Ferrandis, but Aaron is expendable at this point, and he needs to put together some consistent rides in order to put himself in a position where he deserves to have that ride at Monster Energy Yamaha. We'll move on to his teammate, Dylan Ferrandis, number 14, rookie. He had a pretty scary crash from what I can understand. I didn't see it because NBC Peacock didn't show it, but I guess he had a pretty scary crash, and he's okay. I'm pretty sure it just shook him up, knocked the wind out of him, and I'm not too concerned. Level 1, he's a rookie, so I mean, it's a learning year for him. He's allowed to make these mistakes and do these, not stupid things, but he's allowed to make mistakes that, if you're looking at somebody like Eli Tomac and he makes the same mistake, it's a stupid mistake, but it's a rookie level mistake. He's making these mistakes, and that's okay. If you're Dylan Ferrandis, this year's all about learning. Supercross, I think he can come out a little bit more aggressive in motocross, because I'm sure to all these riders, motocross probably comes a little bit as second nature to them. So yeah, if you're Dylan Ferrandis, I'm not concerned at all, and I don't think there's really anybody else that I'm gonna talk about. Chase Sexton's not gonna be here this week, so I'll go over injuries really quick. As far as 250 West, I don't think there's anybody. I'm pretty sure everybody's coming in pretty healthy. Let me see. I'll do 250 West on another video. But as far as people that are injured, and I'm just going through Racer X's point standings right now, I'm going to highlight anybody that's injured that's got the little red cross right next to their name. Dylan Ferrandis, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be missing any of the races, but he's got a little red cross next to his name. I'm assuming he's a little banged up. Justin Brayton, he had something happen. He hit his chest pretty hard. He posted it on Instagram, and he posted that he's going to miss 02 because of a practice crash during the week, and he said he hit his chest pretty hard. So I don't know if there's some broken ribs, maybe some bruised bones that's just going to be too much pain to put him through. Jason Anderson, I don't remember what he did. I think he dislocated a finger, I think. So he's probably still recouping from that. And to my knowledge, since he raced last week, he's probably going to be here this week. Dean Wilson still got his issue with the foot. And side note, I just learned this. If you put your hand over, or your mouse over the cross, It tells you what it is. Yeah. Okay. So Dylan Ferrandis banged up. He crashed last in Orlando 1. He's going to be in Orlando 2. Oh, that's cool. Justin Brayton's injury is on his chest. He's not going to be racing Orlando 2. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I was right on. So Dean Wilson, I think it's his foot. Yeah. So he injured his foot. He put a picture up on Instagram that was nasty. But he's, as far as I can tell, he's probably going to be in for Orlando 2. And then Chase Sexton injured his shoulder back at, what was it, Houston 2. And he's not going to be back until Daytona. So he announced that he's just not having the motion. It's not as strong as he wants it to be. So he'll probably, he said he's going to be back for Daytona, which I think that's fine. A-Ray, come on. Illness, but he's in. It doesn't say what it is, but he was sick. But he's in for Orlando 2. Shane McElrath's made his debut last week. And he was out for the entire first part of the season, but he's back, and he's probably just going to be getting himself back up to race pace, so that's a good thing. And then Freddie Norin. What happened to Freddie? Freaky Fast Freddie. What happened? This thing's finicky. Oh, he hit his head, I think. Alright, well, that's going to do it all for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments what your PanicREVV for the 450s guys are. And let me know what you think about the championship as it sits right now. Is this as good of racing as last year? Is it worse? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, let me know what kind of video content you guys want to see. Do you want to see breaking news videos? Do you want to see injury updates? Do you want to see preview videos where it's going into the season of who's going to be doing what? Like, I'm going to do a 250 West video where I confirm the teams, and then I go through and just do that. And do a preview of who I think is going to win the championship and stuff like that. So I've got a bunch of different video ideas rolling around in my head. Let me know in the comments below what you guys want to see. And until next time, see ya.